Why is it that we still think Steph Curry is better than Damian Lillard, even though they play the exact same way? Why is it that we think that Michael Jordan is better than LeBron, Kareem, and Bill Russell? No matter how much the stats say otherwise, we can't help but feel it in our hearts. Why is it that every team now runs some augmented version of what the 73-win Warriors ran, but can't seem to find the same success? These are the questions that plague us. We feel the answers, but we don't understand them. The answer is simple: creativity. Some people are born to perfect the game as it currently stands. Some are born to completely change it. Let's take Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem is an example of the purest technician the sport has ever seen. He holds the all-time record for points scored, and rightfully is considered one of the top 5 players ever. But not number 1. Why? Because he perfected his shot so well he didn't need to innovate. He was a 2-point robot, a 2-point factory, a 2-point machine. But he wasn't a basketball genius. However, even with the game played the way it is now, 5 out, Kareem would still get a max contract from every team. Because if the game was on the line, you needed 2 points or a stop, he is the perfect option. But if you had either him or Magic Johnson to lead your team, who would you want? Let's look at Magic, a pure creative. Magic was actually never a great scorer, but his superpower was creativity. The reason in your heart you'd take Magic over Kareem is that, while Kareem may get you 2 points on most possessions, you can quite easily coach against him. Double him and make someone else beat you. With Magic, he's so original that you can't plan against him. You have to react to what he does. You can draw plans to get the ball out of his hands, but that's also his plan. And when he solves you, you need a team to make a counter move. In terms of today's game, Damian Lillard is an equal scorer, facilitator, and has the same limitless range as Steph Curry. But who would you want as your point guard? Well, again, same deal. I'd want Lillard at the end of a game when you needed a 3-pointer, but if you ask me who I'd want for a season, the answer is a no-brainer: Steph Curry. You see, Lillard is quite easy to stop. Get the ball out of his hands and he loses in the first round to the lower-seeded Pelicans. Or to Steph. Get the ball out of Steph's hand and you're likely to be severely punished, either by him or by someone else on the team that he is finding wide open. Steph innovated what Lillard perfected. The only problem is Steph also perfected it. And because he invented shooting the ball from deep as a regular shot, he can also invent other strategies to beat you. Dame can only perfect, not innovate. Finally, LeBron versus Jordan. For me, the telling factor between them is actually surprisingly the NBA dunk contest. LeBron never entered. Why? He was one of the best dunkers in the game for a long time. The answer is because his skill is not creativity. In fact, the argument for LeBron being the GOAT would be that he's the best technician the game has ever seen across the most diverse parts of the game. He's incredibly elite at passing, his IQ's off the charts, his scoring, rebounding, and defending when he wants to is all impeccable. In fact, in those areas, at his best, he was probably better than Jordan. But why does it not even feel super close? Because everything LeBron has done has been done before. And every time you tuned in to watch Michael, you saw something you'd never seen before. Michael was such a creative scorer, intimidator, and defender that he innovated on a nightly basis. That's why he couldn't be stopped in the postseason. You spend a week planning against him, and his reactions beat you. As a little bonus bit, it's also the difference between my favourite rivalry in the NBA at the moment, Giannis and Harden. Harden is perhaps the best scoring technician the game has ever seen, and Giannis can barely score from anywhere. But why does Giannis have 2 MVPs and Harden have 1? Harden is a scoring weapon who can read defenders like a kid's book. He can make any shot with a hand in his face, and he can make any pass. So why is Giannis more accomplished? Because even though you know what Giannis wants, he reinvented simple things like how big a step can be. He reinvented how a big man can play. He innovated. Giannis, without creativity, is Montrezl Harrell, a good player, but essentially a bench player. But Giannis does like severe technicianship, and that is the source of his frustration. He wants to beat the challenge of low defense. He knows how, he just can't do it. So after reviewing all this, what's the one thing that we can tell when someone is a creative versus a technician? Well, weirdly, it seems to be a facial expression. The great creatives all seem to smile when they play, because making the game harder for them isn't frustrating, it's fun. They see it the way a chess fan sees a chess problem in the back page of a newspaper. They often smile because they can beat you in a moment, a plan that you worked on for over a week. They love your technicianship because they can beat it with a plan. but you can't react fast enough to beat them. That's why these creatives will always seem better. They innovated, they created a new way to play basketball, and everyone else is just catching up. And that's why LeBron will always be catching up, because unless he innovates on how basketball is played, he simply is just going to be the best technician the game's ever seen.